Chapter 2, The Mistake. When they reached Green Gables, Marilla came forward as Matthew opened the door. When she saw the girl, she stopped in surprise. "Matthew Cuthbert, who's that?" she asked. "Where's the boy?" "There wasn't any boy," Matthew said. "There was only her." He nodded at the girl. "But we sent word to Mrs. Spencer to send a boy," Marilla said. "Well, she sent a girl. I had to bring her home. I couldn't leave her at the station." "You don't want me?" the girl cried out. "I might have known it was too beautiful to last. I should have known nobody would want me." She sat down at the kitchen table and began to cry. "Well, there's no need to cry about it," Marilla said. "Yes, there is need," the girl sobbed. She raised her tear-stained face and looked at Marilla. "This is the most tragical thing that's ever happened to me." A smile stole across Marilla's face. "Well, don't cry any more," she said. "We're not going to send you away tonight. What's your name?" "Would you please call me Cordelia?" the girl asked. "Is that your name?" Marilla asked with a frown. "No, not exactly," the girl admitted. "My real name is Anne Shirley, but I like Cordelia better. It's so much more romantic than Anne." "Fiddlesticks," Marilla said. "Anne is a good, sensible name." "Well, if you call me Anne, please spell it with an E," Anne said. "It looks so much nicer than just plain A-N-N. "All right, then," Anne spelled with an E. "Can you tell us how this mistake came to be made?" Marilla asked. "Mrs. Spencer distinctly said you wanted a girl about 11 years old," Anne told her. "She kept Lily Jones for herself. Lily is 5, and she's very pretty. If I were pretty, would you keep me?" "No," Marilla said. "We want a boy to help on the farm. A girl is no help." They sat down to supper, but Anne just nibbled at her food. "I guess she's tired," Matthew said. "Best put her to bed, Marilla." Marilla took Anne to a bedroom in the east gable of the house. The walls of the room were bare and white. The floor was bare too, except for a round mat in the middle. There was a high bed in one corner of the room. With a sob, Anne undressed. She put on a faded nightgown and jumped into bed. Then she pulled the covers over her head. "Well, good night," Marilla said. Anne's white face and big eyes appeared over the covers. "How can you call it a good night?" she said. "You know it must be the very worst night I've ever had." Then she pulled the covers over her head again. Marilla went back down to the kitchen. "The girl will have to be sent back to the orphanage," she told Matthew. "She's a real nice little thing," Matthew said. "It's a pity to send her back. She's so set on staying." Marilla stared at her brother. "You don't think we ought to keep her?" she said. "What help would she be?" "We might help her," Matthew said, "and she'd be company for you." "I don't need company," Marilla answered. "I'm not going to keep her." "It's just as you say, of course." Matthew stood. "I'm going to bed." Marilla put away the dishes and went to bed too. And upstairs, in the east gable, a lonely girl cried herself to sleep.